Welcome to Year in Review, the show where we break down a year to bring you some of the most notable moments in TV and film, month by month. It was a year of milestones. Just ask Jim Carrey, who was the first actor to hit the $20 million salary mark for Cable Guy. Plus, it was a year for very quotable movies, what with characters like Happy, Cruella, Sherman, Sydney, and President Whitmore. So go frost your tips, put on your hyper-colored t-shirt and starter jacket, and let's head back to 1996.
No way that you could have been as bad at hockey as you are at golf.
All right, let's go. Oh! You like that, old man? You want a piece of me?
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing. Oh!
And stirring up one emotion in particular when it arrived in February was the Adam Sandler golf comedy Happy Gilmore, about a wannabe hockey player who finds unexpected success as a professional golfer. Even though Sandler has given us a few gems lately, pun intended, this movie actually remains one of a handful of fresh films over his entire career, especially when it comes to comedies. And if there's one secret to that success, well, it's all in the hips.
Relax, just do what we talked about, huh? Don't even look at the green. Make contact with the ball. There's no goalie out there to block it. Remember, it's all in the hips. Hey, it's all in. Come on, work with me now. It's all in the hips. Yeah, it's all in the hips.
Happy Gilmore may be just one in a long line of fish-out-of-water comedies that define the early part of Sandler's big screen career, but the film arguably changed the face of sports movies, or at the very least the sport of golf, and has attracted a legion of fans unlike any of his other comedies. The unforgettable lines and oft-imitated golf swing, plus the introduction of Bob Barker to a new generation, has kept this film as relevant as ever. Critics say those who enjoy Adam Sandler's shtick will find plenty to love in this gleefully juvenile take on professional golf. Those who don't, however, will find it unfunny and forgettable.
Of course you can pass as an uncle. You're a great performer, I'm a great director. Together we can do almost anything.
Oh, Armand, really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
We've got 5 hours. All right, first, get your pinky down. It's up again. All right, and your posture.
Oh my God, are you crazy?
Taking flight in March of '96 was the comedy The Birdcage, which is a remake of a classic French play and film from the 70s called Le Cage aux Folles. In this version, Robin Williams stars as a gay Miami club owner who pretends to be straight and hide his relationship with his life partner, played by Nathan Lane, in order to appease his son's future father-in-law, a controversial Republican senator played by Gene Hackman. Of course, given the level of performance talent that was involved, director Mike Nichols would film one good take sticking to the script, and then let guys like Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, and Hank Azaria do their thing.
Come on, you Albert, come on. Come on, Albert, open up, baby, come on.
Get out!
Open it, Albert, open it, come on.
Go away! No! I don't want him to see me, I'm hideous!
Go door. Oh, that's it.
Go away! Ah! I'm calling 911!
Hay que door, abre la puerta!
The Certified Fresh film was a hit with fans and critics, topping the box office for 4 straight weeks on its way to reaching $185 million worldwide. And among the accolades, The Birdcage picked up a Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Ensemble Cast for obvious reasons. Critics say Mike Nichols wrangles agreeably amusing performances from Robin Williams and Nathan Lane in this fun, if not quite essential, remake of the French comedy La Cage aux Folles.
Julia, I know you're upset. You just gotta breathe. We both just gotta breathe. Cal, I gotta go, Julia. We got cows.
This one was directed by John DeBont of Speed fame and written by author Michael Crichton, along with his wife, actress turned writer Anne Marie Martin. Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton star as estranged husband and wife storm chasers who team up to test a new device he invented before their biggest rival, played by Carrie Elways, steals their thunder. Steven Spielberg, who served as an executive producer, was once attached to direct, but backed out, and James Cameron and Robert Zemeckis were also considered before John DeBont left Godzilla for the job.
Bill, help me!
Joe, we should leave.
No.
Forget the sensors.
Help me!
We gotta get out of here now. Good job.
Spencer will see it if it drops. If it's anywhere near us,
It's
he'll
not gonna
tell
drop
us.
anywhere near. It's gonna drop right on us. Ah.
Bill, do this. It's me. Where are you? No, Bill, please. No, go back.
Twister grossed nearly $500 million at the worldwide box office and became the second highest grossing film of 1996 after Independence Day. It also received Oscar noms for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound, but lost to Independence Day and The English Patient, respectively. And the film is actually quite notable for being one of the very first films ever released on DVD in the United States. Date night! Critics say, a high-concept blockbuster that emphasizes special effects over three-dimensional characters, Twister's visceral thrills are often offset by the film's generic plot.
You know, a few hours ago, my biggest problem was judging a stuffing contest. Now look at me, stuck in a jail cell with some angry 400-pound man whose life you wrecked. You clipped him, didn't you? I'm sorry, Uncle Phil. It's the worst Thanksgiving I ever had.
And thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Putting a wrap, or should I say wrap, on things in May of '96 was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, leaving the airwaves after 6 seasons and 148 episodes. The NBC sitcom starred Will Smith as kind of himself, in a role that he apparently auditioned for on the spot in front of NBC chief Brandon Tartikoff while at a party at the home of Quincy Jones. And the pilot was filmed 3 months later. #Hollywood. The series was created by Andy and Susan Borowitz, who previously worked on shows like Family Ties and The Facts of Life.
What y'all do with our clothes?
It's under him.
Why you put our clothes?
Bel-Air's not that long of a walk.
All right, look, we just gonna get our clothes and then we're gonna go. All right, no. From the looks of this brother, he's a very heavy sleeper. We all right. Go ahead.
And over its 6-year run, The Fresh Prince featured dozens of celebrity cameos like Bo Jackson, Oprah, Quincy Jones, Chris Rock, and William Shatner. A reunion special and retrospective, which reunited the original living cast members, debuted on HBO Max in November of 2020. Critics say, now this is the story of how Will Smith's career got turned upside down from top 40 rapper with bankable flair to a transcendent star in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
All right, Hunt. Enough is enough. You have bribed, cajoled, and killed, and you have done it using loyalties on the inside. You want to shake hands with the devil, that's fine with me. I just want to make sure that you do it in hell.
Crashing into theaters on May 22nd was one of the 2 big films for Tom Cruise in 1996, and that's Mission Impossible. It's a continuation of both the original television series created in 1966 and the revived sequel series that began in 1988, and it's set 6 years after the events of the latter. Tom Cruise stars as government operative Ethan Hunt, who recruits a small team to help him prove his innocence after he becomes the prime suspect in the murder of his mentor. Mission Impossible delivered one of the most memorable scenes/images of 90s action flicks when Tom Cruise drops and hovers inches from the ground. As it turns out, he put coins in his shoes for balance and to keep his head from hitting the floor. Remember that, all you future spies out there. This marked the first installment in what has become quite the film series, with a 7th installment due in 2023. But this is actually the only film in the franchise where Ethan Hunt doesn't fire a gun, nor are there any shootouts or gunfights at all. Critics say, full of special effects, Brian De Palma's update of Mission Impossible has a lot of sweeping spectacle, but the plot is sometimes convoluted.
Very kind.
Freeze, mister! Oh, man! Help!
Drop the gun, or I drop your balls.
Escaping into theaters on June 7, 1996 was the memorable action flick The Rock, directed by action extraordinaire Michael Bay. And it wasn't about The Rock. Nicolas Cage stars as an FBI chemical warfare expert who teams up with a former British spy, played by Sean Connery, to stop a nerve gas attack launching from the old Alcatraz prison and into San Francisco. Much of the filming took place on location at Alcatraz Island, but since it's run by the National Park Service, it couldn't close down, and production had to work around tour parties that were walking through.
Stay tight, gentlemen. I got green smoke. I got green smoke. CQ1, CQ1. Green smoke. Where? Green smoke. Over. 2 minutes. Aboard. Aboard. Back later. Aboard. Aboard. Jesus Christ.
Coming off his critically acclaimed performance in Leaving Las Vegas the year before, Cage was about to go on a serious run of popular action movies. And it pretty much started with The Rock, which went on to become the 4th highest grossing movie of 1996. Critics say for visceral thrills, it can't be beat. Just don't expect The Rock to engage your brain.
What's going on? Oh my God, get out of here! Get out of here!
Damn, everyone, run for the hills! It's Fatzilla! Boy, he look like King Kong with
Sherman, I brought you some nice fried chicken, Sherman. Oh, you look fabulous.
Opening on June 28th was the Eddie Murphy comedy The Nutty Professor, a remake of the 1963 film of the same name. Murphy plays a morbidly obese university professor who comes up with a miraculous yet experimental weight loss drug that also brings out an evil alter ego. The Nutty Professor also features Jada Pinkett and Dave Chappelle in supporting roles, but it's Murphy who shines, playing 7 different roles in the film, including most of his character's family.
You want your colon clean? Fine, I'm gonna clean mine. Yeah, now my colon is clean. I'm talking squeaky clean.
What happened, Neil? You gonna start breaking gas. Don't break gas and destroy our meal.
Don't tell me to stop. You the one that brought up colon cleanser and all that mess.
Of course, he had a little help behind the scenes from a team that won the Oscar for Best Makeup, and all it took was keeping Eddie in the chair roughly 3 hours a day to pull it off. The fresh film performed well at the box office and spawned a sequel in 2000. Critics say The Nutty Professor falls back on juvenile humor eagerly and often, but Eddie Murphy's consistently funny work in dual roles means more for audiences to love.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on.
Good luck, buddy.
Oh, boys! I'm back!
This film, starring Bill Pullman and Will Smith, is about a worldwide attack by an extraterrestrial race and the different groups of people who come together in the Nevada desert to try and figure out a way to fight back. Roland Emmerich directed and co-wrote this film, and while Smith has some memorable moments, it's Bill Pullman's role as President Whitmore that people still talk about.
They're like locusts. They're moving from planet to planet, their whole civilization. After they've consumed every natural resource, they move on. And we're next.
The marketing campaign for Independence Day began with the airing of a dramatic commercial during Super Bowl 30, which cost a cool $1.3 million. But it's all good because this became the highest grossing film of 1996 and was nominated for 2 Oscars for Best Sound and Best Visual Effects, winning the latter. Critics say the plot is thin and so is character development, but as a thrilling, spectacle-filled summer movie, Independence Day delivers.
Carly, I am your friend.
We ain't no friends, Jake. We on different sides of the line. I ain't never seen you in my part of town. I bet you don't even know where I live. Our daughters, Jake, they ain't never gonna play together.
What are you talking about?
America is a war, and you on the other side.
Coming at the end of July was the film A Time to Kill, based on John Grissom's 1989 novel of the same name. Samuel L. Jackson stars as a heartbroken father who avenges his daughter's brutal rape by shooting the bigoted men responsible. And he looks to an untested lawyer played by Matthew McConaughey for help. This marked the fourth film adaptation of a John Grissom novel, and after not initially wanting to sell the rights to this, his first book, he finally relented for a record price of $6 million, plus casting approval.
Do you think Carly shooting you was intentional?
No, sir. It was an accident.
Do you think he should be punished for shooting you?
No, sir.
The fresh film was #1 at the box office its first couple of weeks and pulled in a decent amount overall. It also earned Sam Jackson a Golden Globe nom for Best Supporting Actor and Matthew McConaughey an MTV Movie Award for Breakthrough Performance. Critics say, overlong and superficial, A Time to Kill nonetheless succeeds on the strength of its skillful craftsmanship and top-notch performances.
I think I better tell you something.
Hi, I hope I'm not late.
Hi.
Hi.
This is my friend, Renee.
Are you two gonna have a baby?
Kicking off a fresh TV season on August 26, 1996, was the family drama series Seventh Heaven. It centers around the lives of Reverend Eric Camden and his family living in the fictional town of Glen Oak, California. It marked the first major role for Jessica Biel, who played daughter Mary Camden for the show's first 7 seasons.
You've never kissed a guy.
Oh, well, by the time girls in my class were kissing boys in my class, I was taller than every guy in my class.
What difference does it make? Tall, short, who cares?
It's too weird kissing a guy shorter than me. I want to kiss someone taller than me.
Who?
There's no who.
Oh yeah, there is. Who is he?
It doesn't matter.
Seventh Heaven aired for 10 seasons on the WB, becoming the network's longest-running series ever, and then finished out its 11th final season on the CW after the big merger, airing its 243rd and final episode in May of 2007.
You got an illegal cable splitter on your roof.
I do?
You didn't know nothing about it, right? Oh, and it's a real cheap one. That's why your cable service went out.
Ray, I'm surprised at you.
What did you do, Ray?
I didn't do anything. I don't even know what a splitter is.
It splits your signal and it sends it somewhere else. And in this case, right across the street to that house.
Also beginning a long series run in September of '96 was the CBS sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond, which would run until 2005 with a total of 210 episodes over 9 seasons. Ray Romano stars as a successful sports writer who deals with the daily ups and downs of having a family of his own, while his parents and brother also live across the street.
Where's the fish?
You know what? I think I put it in the fridge.
What? What are you trying to do with it? It's not in here.
Oh, look. Look. Here it is, right here.
Romano was one of many comedians who got a shot at their own show at the time, especially after a 5-minute set on Letterman in '95, with the success of Home Improvement, Seinfeld, and Roseanne setting the stage before him. The result was one of the most beloved sitcoms in the history of television, winning 15 Emmys on 69 nominations and living on for new audiences to enjoy in syndication. Critics say there's plenty to love in this witty riff on the push and pull of family, from Ray Romano's self-deprecating comedy to the sterling roster of supporting players.
You think just because I'm a movie star I don't have feelings. Well, you're wrong. I do have feelings. I'm an actress. I have all of them. Well, I wouldn't understand. You see, I'm just a poor little housewife in a little apron with a little child to raise. Yeah, well, you were always jealous of me, even in college, because I was blonde and beautiful and talented, and I got any guy I wanted. And did. Every guy. Most of the senior class and half the faculty. Well, it was the 60s.
Opening in theaters on September 20th was the star-studded comedy First Wives Club. Directed by Hugh Wilson and based on Olivia Goldsmith's 1992 novel of the same name, this film stars Diane Keaton, Bette Midler, and Goldie Hawn as three divorcees looking for payback against their ex-husbands who left them for younger women. The film was considered a surprise box office success after grossing more than $181 million.
Letters from Brenda's father about stocking your stores with stolen merchandise. Well, what do they call it in the tabloids?
Hot stuff.
Criminal activity? You should be ashamed.
Wake up and smell the audit.
And despite mixed reviews and a rotten score on the Tomatometer, it has since developed a cult following, mostly among middle-aged women. It also marks the three main actresses' highest-grossing projects of the 90s and, as critics have argued, helped breathe new life into some of their careers. Critics say First Wives Club is headlined by a trio of comedic dynamos, but the script lets them down with tepid plotting and a fatal lack of satirical bite.
Anita, darling.
Good morning, Cruella.
What a charming dog.
And arriving in droves over Thanksgiving weekend was Disney's live-action 101 Dalmatians, adapted from the 1961 animated film and the 1956 novel of similar names. Along with the roughly 300 puppies it took to make this film, Glenn Close stars as an evil high-fashion designer who is out to steal Dalmatian puppies in order to make a fancy fur coat. Sigourney Weaver was offered the role of Cruella but turned it down, as did Close initially. But the film's costume designer Anthony Powell happened to be working with the latter on the Broadway show Sunset Boulevard, and he convinced her to do it.
Oh, did Anita tell you the news? She's going to have a baby.
Is this true?
Yes.
Oh, you poor thing. I'm so sorry.
The film was a hit at the box office, becoming the 6th highest grossing film of the year, and Close's performance was praised despite poor overall reviews from the critics. She returned for a sequel in 2000, 102 Dalmatians, which was also not well received, but did have one more Dalmatian, which is always a good thing. Critics say, neat performance from Glenn Close aside, 101 Dalmatians is a bland, pointless remake.
Jesus Christ, you don't know the rules?
Have an aneurysm, why don't you?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. No! Big no-no!
And finally, ending 1996 with a loud, sharp, piercing cry was the slasher film Scream, directed by Wes Craven and deliberately released 5 days before Christmas to give moviegoers another option besides family flicks. The film's ensemble cast is led by franchise mainstays Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette, and it tells the story of a small town with a mysterious masked killer on the loose. Cox made her way to Scream while she was looking to offset her, quote, nice character from Friends. And Skeet Ulrich was cast after Joaquin Phoenix reportedly turned down the role of Billy, while Matthew Lillard just happened to be in the building for something unrelated when he was asked to audition for and landed the part of Stu. At the end of Kevin Williamson's screenplay for the film was a 5-page treatment for Scream 2, which turned into a full-on script after Scream became a hit, ultimately launching a legit franchise that is still going strong a couple of decades later. Critics say horror icon Wes Craven's subversive deconstruction of the genre is sly, witty, and surprisingly effective as a slasher film itself, even if it gets a little too cheeky for some. Oh wow, that was fun. I haven't hung out in the 90s in like forever. What was your favorite movie or TV moment from 1996? Don't answer right now, take your time and think about it. You could even go back and watch this again if you really think that will help. I wonder what year we'll visit in the next episode. You gotta tune in to find out, so until then, take care of yourselves.